Today, the key question about Trump's decision to go to war in Iran isn't why he did it, but now that he has, are we less safe than we were before? Democratic Congressman Jason Crow asked DNI Tulsi Gabbard about Iran's new leader, who took over after his father was killed in a military strike.
The son is considered more of a hardliner than his father. Isn't that correct?
Yes.
So hardline that even some of Iran's leaders thought he was too aggressive. Isn't that correct?
That is the intelligence community assessment, yes.
Mujtaba, the son, is particularly close to the brutal Islamic Revolutionary Guard Corps and their most hardline commanders, correct?
That is the intelligence community assessment.
He was involved in ordering violent crackdowns on Iranian protesters, including their murder, correct?
Yes.
And we don't know if the son will continue his father's religious ban on developing nuclear weapons. Is that correct?
It is unknown at this time.
Congressman Jason Crow joins me now. Congressman, what did you learn? What did you take away from that exchange with the Director of National Intelligence?
Well, we saw confirmation in glaring detail that they have no plan, that the president ignored intelligence, ignored all of the assessments that show that this is not the best course of action, that this war, which the American people did not have a vote in, through their representatives in Congress, do not like, do not approve, do not want to have happening, is getting worse for America. It's going to cost us now hundreds of billions of dollars, we're hearing today, and it really needs to end before it gets even worse.
I want to play another exchange that your colleague, Congressman Joaquin Castro, had with both the DNI, Gabbard, and CIA Director John Radcliffe about Israel's strikes against Iran's South Pars gas field, which President Trump said the U.S. knew nothing about. Here it is.
To what do you attribute Israel's decision to strike Iranian energy infrastructure, despite President Trump's call to keep those facilities off limits?
I don't have an answer for that.
Do you know why Israel decided to strike that infrastructure despite the fact that the president said it should be off limits?
I wouldn't speak for Israel.
What do you guys know? We're at war. What do you guys know?
We'll have to take that for the record.
Yes, let's take it for the record.
You can kind of sense Congressman Castro's frustration there at the lack of answers coming from U.S. government officials about this war. But is that a frustration you're hearing from many of your Republican colleagues, especially fellow veterans?
Well, far too many. I mean, it is so glaring how little opposition there is to this, even by people who are purported constitutionalists, even by people who, for years under prior administrations I worked with on the other side of the aisle, who wanted to end the endless wars, who wanted to rein in war powers, who wanted Congress to step back into its constitutional role. These folks are just unbelievably silent. They have capitulated to Donald Trump. But America deserves to know who's calling the shots. Right? Our service members are over there fighting and dying. We have 50,000 service members in the Middle East who are subjected to drones and ballistic missile attacks on a daily basis right now. Who's calling the shots here? I can't sit here and tell you that. And as a member of Congress on the Intelligence and Armed Services Committee, that is a damn travesty. This is getting way, way out of hand, and we need to step up and we need to end it.
I'd like to ask you, if I can, about something we were talking about before the break, and that is a new survey. And they asked folks about what they thought of the president of the United States, and they used words like dishonest and arrogant. But of the many questions they were asked, the one that really struck me hard, and I want to ask you as a veteran who served in 2 wars, what do you make of the fact that 40% of Americans now describe the country you fought for as an oligarchy?
Well, they see this creeping authoritarianism around the country. They see Donald Trump weaponizing the Department of Justice against me and members of Congress. Let's not forget that about a month ago, Donald Trump and his political cronies literally tried to have me thrown in prison for getting our military simply to say they abide by the law and the Constitution. They're murdering Americans in the street. They're arresting people with masked agents and throwing them into foreign prisons and deporting people without hearings. You know, none of this is normal, and I'm not about to act like any of this is normal. right? This is a major problem. Our Constitution, our democracy is under assault. We have a president who is weaponizing every facet of the American government against opposition, against his political opponents, and against the American people, and now starting a war without authorization, without any oversight, and using hundreds of billions of dollars of taxpayer money and American blood to fight it. And Americans are done with it. They don't want it. So I'm doing everything possible to stop it.
Congressman Jason Crow, thank you so much for coming on the program.
Thank you.